everyone, this is smpratte, and today we have a pretty serious video. The title really says it all. Recently, PSA graded some fake versus stamped Pokemon cards, and we're going to take a look at a few of them thanks to Professor O'Calley, a longtime collector in the hobby, who sent some of these my way, and I'm going to try to do my best to show you the difference between a real versus stamp and a fake versus stamp. Now, before we get into it, let me give you a little context and background, especially for newer viewers. I've been doing this over 15 years, and versus base set is one of my specialties, aka there's not many other basement dwellers out there who have bought as many first edition base cards as myself, so I know the exact alignment, all the subtle stamp variations, and I'm going to try to do my best to explain all that in this video. So if you want to go ahead and guess which one of the cards in the background is the fake first edition stamp Pokemon card, if you guess all of them, you would be correct. So these are a handful of real shadowless base cards with an aftermarket stamp applied. So this is one of the fake stamp cards, and this Pikachu right here on the right is a real first edition base Pikachu that I actually got from the Vegas opening, I believe, in 2021. And this guy right here isn't just on scene for his cute chunkiness. He's going to help demonstrate the difference between these two stamps. So first and foremost is going to be the alignment. After this video, you will never unsee this for first edition base cards. Every single first edition base stamp should align with the corner of the border of the illustration. So you see that corner right there? It should always hit in the middle of the T, just as you see here on the right. Now, if we go to the fake stamp, you'll see that stamp is just ever so slightly shifted to the left. That should never happen. If you have a first edition base, any card, common, uncommon, rare, hollow, with a stamp that is shifted to the left like that, you're going to have a bad time because this is an aftermarket stamp. So every single type of species card should align with that border. In fact, every single first edition base card I've ever seen aligns with this border. I have yet to see one that doesn't have that alignment. So again, over 15 years, 10,000 plus cards, I have never seen a first edition base stamp card that does not align there with that corner like you see here with this Pikachu. Now, another difference you may have noticed is the thickness of the stamp. So what we have here on the right is considered the standard thick version, which refers to the one, and the one left is thin. So what that really refers to is at the time Drowzee was testing the parameters of the stamp, different pressure, ink, measurements, etc. And this one is something you'll see on first edition base exclusively. And then later on, the thin stamp, which you really saw on the holo cards moving forward, is what you would see on the subsequent like Drowzee sets all the way up until Neo Destiny. You saw that thin version of the stamp. So this is something you pretty much never see on a non-holo card. In fact, it's so rare that I hate to even acknowledge it as a variant, but I have to. So the probability of having a thin first edition non-holo stamp is so insurmountably small. In fact, with the 10,000 plus cards I've owned, I've maybe had 2 to 5. And I say 5 because I probably sold a couple that I didn't realize over the years. But the bottom line is, this is not a correct thin stamp variant. A thin stamp variant that you would see on a non-holo is more of like a thick stamp with just a pound extra of ink. It's not going to look like this on the left. So that's something you should just never see. Also, you should not see this many, especially if you want to doubt it and say, okay, well, I've seen a thin variant here and there once in a blue moon. You know, all the deep state collectors on E4 have probably noticed a couple of them over the years. But if you have a seller that just comes out of nowhere with heaps of these, again, you're probably going to have a bad time. So that's one of multiple cards we're going to look at. That is the Pikachu. Next up, we'll do the Squirtle here. So I could try and show you the difference between the thick and the thin stamps. So this is a real Gyarados, first edition base with a thin stamp. So we have the Blastoise here. I'll show you a thick. We saw the thick earlier. So you can't have a holo with a thick and a thin. So there you go. Those are the differences. So this is what a real thin should look like. So even a side-by-side, you'll notice there are differences. The D and the O are more closed on a real thin stamp, where the one on the left is more open because it's not correct. That's one of the aftermarket errors that they just did not notice. So this is something you should not see. Basically what this is more of a thick lettering with the thin one stamp, which is incongruent. It should be, again, more ink because that's really what it is at the end of the day. Drowzee was testing the ink and pressure there, and that's why the D is more closed on the correct thin stamp on the right. And we'll do another side-by-side with our Squirtle. So this is a thick stamp, and actually if we zoom in, it's a great example of one of the subtle variants that you'll see, again, because Drowzee was just simply testing they're printing. And this one is considered a 3D stamp, where you see the E and the N have like that 90s 3D effect going on there. And that will be a correct variant that you will see, kind of like a gray stamp, which again is under the umbrella of the different pressure and ink amount that's used in the stamp. But with that said, they both correctly align. That's hitting where it should. Let's pull our Pikachu back up. That's hitting right where it should with the corner there on the T. This one's a little hard to tell because of the 3D, but this one's hitting smack dab right in the middle. And again, this guy is way too far to the left, and it's just incorrect. We'll pull up our Pikachu again so we can show you the difference of all three. You see the difference there of the D, how the D is much more open. The one on the left, the fake one, is not true to the thin D, and not even really the thick one as well. The thick one just looks more clear, where the left one is just not as clear. And I know it's tough to tell. I'm trying to do my best to give you the best focus here in 4K. But yeah, the one on the right is a correct thick, then you have correct thin, then the fake one on the left, which the lettering is just too open. It should not be that open for a thin. Now we'll go and look at some others here. I have an Electabuzz. This is another fake one that was graded by PSA. We'll zoom in. At this point in the video, you probably know all the things to look for. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the side by side. This is a correct first edition stamped on the right. And that one, it's just too flat. It just should not look that way. You can see again, the clarity is off. The alignment is off. The lettering is off. The thickness of the one is off. I also have a graded one as well that we can look at. So this is another grade way back in the day. So you can see again, this is a correct thick, which is what you should see. And then the one on the left, you already notice it. You could see the difference now because you've probably seen multiple of them. The alignment's not there. It shouldn't be thin like that. The D and the O, again, it's a dead giveaway. You see how these two are much more congruent. The two real ones here in the middle and the right. All the letters match. The centering matches. The thickness matches. And this just doesn't match. Now, one thing I will say is that this is definitely the most professional job I've seen over the past 15 years. And, other companies let some of these slip through. And I did a video on AGS before, which is more about, the buzzword of AI. That was supposed to be the theme there, but I want to give them a shout out for doing such a great job PR wise, and any other company who just tries to rectify this, because that's the whole point of this video, is to show that this is something that did slip through. You don't want to see it. And yeah, major kudos to any company that does rectify it and get ahead of it, because it's something that is going to be more of an issue. We're already at a point now where these are convincing the average collector and clearly grading companies. We have a Drowzee here. This is a ungraded one from the same seller. I believe their name was Crunchy CT. Give a little context there. I think Rattle from E4 did a deep dive on this guy. And I remember they were posted. Somebody posted this like 8 months ago. I mentioned that in the AGS video. Someone posted their eBay ages ago. And I remember even from those images, it's like, yeah, these stamps are wrong. The alignment's wrong. And again, that goes back to just looking at these cards so much. It's like speaking a language. It's so second nature for me that right away, as you can probably tell, the one on the left, not the real deal. The one on the right matches all the other cards. We'll start pulling up some of the other real ones next to it so you can see how they all are consistent. We have a Growlithe here as well. You can see the same exact lettering there on the three, the Growlithe, the Pikachu, and then the correct Drowzee, and then the incorrect one there. It also doesn't have the alignment where all three of these cards do. You saw earlier with the Gyarados, the alignment is there. Even on the holo cards, it's there on the rare cards, like Electabuzz. It's there on the common and uncommons. It's going to be there every single time. So here's the Drowzee. This is the real. This is the fake. We also have a Growlithe, same exact species. We have the fake Growlithe here on the left. Now, this one does have slightly better as far as the T. It's getting closer, but you can tell. Let's try to focus it there. You can tell it's still not aligned. And also, now that we've looked at these for so long, you can see the difference there in the font. Obviously, the difference in the thick and thin one, but the font is just a dead giveaway. That's a dead giveaway. It should not look like that. I remember when I saw this seller and I zoomed in on the images, I was like, yeah, that's a dead giveaway. It should never have that combo there of that incongruent font. It just should not look that way. We'll pull up the Gyarados again so we can look at an actual thin side by side. one more time. You can see how the D is more closed, the O is more closed. This is much more clear than earlier, and you can really tell that that font is not correct. It's almost like a jump more too bold on the left, but oddly enough, not closing the D and the O as it should on the real deal. So that is what I have on the fake first edition stamp. Again, the point of this video is to be educational. That was the whole point, is to show you that this is what's wrong. You know, these are incorrect. You don't want to see this type of thing. I hope PSA rectifies it. I hope this seller, I don't know what I hope with this seller. I hope that, I hate seeing this type of stuff. It's scary because it's going to get a lot of people. You know, it clearly got grading companies. There were multiple people, I think, who bought this, and they thought it was the real deal. It was the classic too good to be true. You know, even if you thought you had that 0.00001% thin stamped, you know, variant of a card, it's very improbable that some no-name seller just out of the blue has like tens to hundreds of these. You know, I don't think there's a single seller like me and Rusty and Gary could combine our forces, PokeRev. I don't think all of us together could get that many legitimate copies, you know, of some type of variant that's such an anomaly. So that's what I have on this. It is unfortunate. Hopefully, though, this video did highlight, you know, that alignment again is something you will never unsee. Anytime you're looking at a first edition base card, it should always align with that T. I don't care if it's a common, uncommon, rare, hollow, every species card, every single one I've ever touched aligns that way. And, you know, the one on the left does not. All the others that we saw did not either. So there it is, guys. Hopefully that was useful. I tried to do my best to really get into it, do a deep dive on the differences between stamps, and, you know, hopefully that was useful. And even for these companies and everybody, you know, hopefully this is a lesson that we can all learn. It's going to be something that we're going to have to face moving forward. The more dollar signs, the more you have to deal with this. And this is definitely the most sophisticated. I don't know how deep it goes. I don't know how many people they got with this, but you hate to see it. And there it is. That is the difference between a real first edition base stamp and a fake first edition base stamp. You know the deal. Let me know how I feel. That's pretty much it. Until next time.